rudeness sits something you might encounter anywhere in the world. But what makes some countries stand out as being home to the rudest people? Whether it's cultural misunderstandings, city hustle, or just stereotypes. Today, we're diving into the top 10 countries often labeled as the rudest. But remember, rudeness is subjectively often depends on perspective and context. So let's explore the reasons behind these perceptions. France, particularly Paris, is infamous for its seemingly rude locals. Tourists often complain about unfriendly service in restaurants and the lack of patience with those who don't speak French. However, many argue that this perception stems from cultural differences. What's considered polite in one culture might not be in another. In France, there's a strong emphasis on formal greetings. So skipping a polite bonjour could easily come off as rude to locals. Russia's reputation for rudeness often comes from the reserved demeanor of its people. Russians tend to be straightforward and don't sugarcoat their words, which can be perceived as harsh by outsiders. Additionally, the cold weather and the stoic culture don't lend themselves to warm smiles and small talk, especially in cities like Moscow. But for Russians, this is not rudeness practicality. In China, cultural differences can often be mistaken for rudeness. For example, spitting in public or skipping queues might seem offensive to visitors, but are normalized in certain regions. Additionally, the fast pace of life in cities like Beijing or Shanghai can lead to brusque interactions. However, many who stay longer in China note that locals can also be incredibly hospitable and generous. Germany is known for its efficiency and direct communication style, which can sometimes come across as abrupt or unfriendly. Germans value honesty and punctuality, so small talk and overly polite gestures aren't as common. However, what some see as rudeness is simply a reflection of their straightforward and no-nonsense culture. While Americans are often praised for their friendliness, some visitors describe certain regions as rude, particularly in fast-paced cities like New York. The hustle and bustle, combined with the directness of urban dwellers, can leave tourists feeling dismissed or ignored. But this is often not intentional, it's just a result of the high-energy environment. Italians are known for their passionate and expressive communication style, which can sometimes come off as rude to foreigners. Tourists have reported feeling dismissed in tourist-heavy cities like Rome, where locals may lose patience with large crowds and language barriers. However, this perception often changes when travelers venture into smaller towns where hospitality shines. Despite their reputation for politeness, some tourists find the English to be cold or distant, especially in London. The famous stiff upper lip and reserved demeanor can be misinterpreted as unfriendliness. Additionally, sarcasm and dry humor, which are staples of British culture, might not land well with everyone. India's bustling cities and crowded streets can create an overwhelming experience for visitors. Tourists sometimes report pushy behavior in markets or a lack of personal space, which can feel rude. However, much of this is tied to the chaotic nature of daily life in such a densely populated country. Those who look beyond the surface often find warmth and hospitality in abundance. Japan might come as a surprise on this list, as it's known for its highly polite culture. However, some foreigners report feeling a sense of coldness or exclusivity, particularly in rural areas where locals may be less accustomed to outsiders. Additionally, Japan's strong emphasis on rules and etiquette can make tourists feel unwelcome if they unknowingly break social norms. Australians are often seen as laid back, but their blunt and straightforward manner can sometimes be mistaken for rudeness. In cities like Sydney, tourists may find the locals less accommodating in busy settings. However, this perception often depends on context. Australians are also known for their dry humor and relaxed attitude, which many travelers come to appreciate. Rudeness, as we've seen, is a matter of perspective. It's often tied to cultural norms, misunderstandings, or the fast-paced environments of big cities. The key to traveling is embracing these differences and approaching each new experience with an open mind. Have you encountered cultural misunderstandings during your travels? Share your stories in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more fascinating insights from around the globe.